This all started with a phone call from our Austrian producer, Philip, and a chap named Leo, who is part of the tourist board, I think, tourism.
He's the head of Salzburg tourism.
Yep. And the call went over to my agent for me to consider doing a musical, writing a musical. I'd never written a musical in my life. So they had seen a couple of films I'd done. One was Elf, the film Elf, and another one was The Passion of the Christ. So they're
kind of different.
Yeah.
They're all crowd pleasing.
They're all big crowd pleasers, yeah.
Wow.
In different ways. So, yeah, it was just a fluke, as we say. And they called and asked for me. They got in touch with it. We had a meeting. We loved the idea of doing a holiday musical like this. And then very quickly, once I got hired, we started to audition and look for writers. And this amazing young wonderful writer was at the top of our list. And so I don't know who approached you. Who approached you, Richard? So then we got in touch with Hannah, and we had a couple of meetings, and we just sort of hit it off and loved your take, and why don't you take it from there?
Yeah, and then we were flown. Philip and Leo came to Los Angeles to talk to John and to myself, and then we took an amazing trip to Salzburg about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And they took us all around, and we visited where Gruber and Moore wrote Silent Night, and where they were born, and where they worked, and where they slept, and where they taught, and lots of other museums.
Yeah.
And it was really exciting, and we got to get such a beautiful slice of the city, and we learned about the history of the song, and also of, we did the Sound of Music tour, and we learned about Mozart and all the City of Music highlights. And
we got to play in the organ.
Yeah, John played
church.
the organ.
Church.
We played. I think we played Silent Night.
We played Silent Night on the organ. It was pretty
In Holland.
amazing.
Was that in
No,
that?
here.
No, here.
Here,
Here,
right,
up.
okay.
Yeah, there's a picture of it somewhere.
There's a picture of us, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so we gathered all this information, kind of started to form the idea of a storyline, and then we went back to LA and we started to work. And Hannah started working on the book. We were writing songs and book at the same time, which was odd, but that was sort of what we had to do because we didn't have much time. So I started coming up with some song ideas. Hannah was forming the storyline, and that all took, about a year? I guess a year of that.
Yeah, and we had a reading in LA in January.
We did. That's
And
right.
the choreographer came over, and a couple other people from the team. Andreas, the director, who's so wonderful. And then we came back here in the summertime, and we met the actors, Millie and Dominic, and some of the other key actors. And some of the kids had been cast, which was exciting to see. And they did a workshop with Saida and with John.
Yeah.
And now we're here again.
Now we're here.
And how much collaboration was there between the two of you when you were in the earlier stages, when you, Hannah, were writing the story and you were doing the music? I mean, did you get along and do loads of songs?
Sort of daily or late at night, we'd be texting each other, because we're new to we're new to the musical. At least I am, not you as much, but the whole idea of the musical is so different for me because I come from film scoring, television scoring background, and so this was a difficult thing for me because I'd never written a musical. I'd written songs, but I'd never written a musical.
And what's the biggest difference between writing what you did before and doing a musical specifically?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that as the story was being written, I would be writing songs with my team, and sometimes the songs would end up being not what the story would be, so we'd have to throw one song out and write another one. So it was sort of this, this trial and error is what it was. And with film and TV, you're kind of in this condensed schedule, and you just get it done and you move on to the next thing.
Did you two know each other before this collaboration?
No.
You hadn't worked together on anything?
No, we met through John's agent.
We met through my agent, yeah.
It was as well you got on then, really, wasn't it?
We just immediately took
These two are
Yeah, we just took it.
Well, they're
Very
like,
easy.
Yeah.
they've really adopted me. They're like my
Yeah.
my
Oh,
music
really?
parents.
She's our other daughter.
I like
the
that
daughter.
term.
Yeah.
That's so
They're
nice.
music parents.
Yeah.
That's
Music
lovely.
parents, yeah.
And Hannah, what had you written before? What is your background?
So I wrote a book and I worked on 11 or 12 television shows in Los Angeles.
Any
comedies
that
and
we
films. Maybe I worked on Cameron Crowe's show, Roadies, and Wet Hot American Summer, and worked on Rebel Wilson's show and About a Boy.
Okay.
You can see it all on IMDb.
Yeah.
And I adapted a New York Times best-selling series called Dork Diaries for film for Lionsgate. And yeah, and I had done a musical pilot for NBC. And that's what I had been working on. Yeah, and I had written plays before and
Very prolific.
TV
She was
musical stuff.
Very experienced by, already.
So it was exciting to meet everybody and start working with them.
Yeah.
No?
Is it quite different working? I was looking to see if you were still in the room, but I know you don't mind if I ask this question. Was it different working here with an Austrian team as opposed to working in LA? Can I ask that question? Is that okay? Yeah. She doesn't
You
mind.
want to take it?
Oh, whoops.
Well, it was
I'm kidding.
it was different in that in LA we're there with everyone
Yeah.
else, so we
That's
have
the
notes in the
biggest
room. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it was really exciting to have an international
Yeah.
communication, but it was also a huge endeavor.
Yeah, and it was challenging. I mean,
Yeah.
you can imagine. Normally, we're there in LA. We're all working together. We're in one room, and we can.
If we have
talk
a question, we
immediately.
can just call.
Question or a
Yeah.
concern. So it was a little difficult doing it,
Yeah.
overseas.
Well,
That's
the
why.
time, the time change, I think.
Yeah, sure, that was
huge.
hard too.
Oh,
What's
of
the time
course,
change?
Yeah.
Was
So
huge.
I arrived here 2 weeks ago. We got here about 2 weeks ago, and I've been working. So it's been great since I've been here, but it's been a little bit of a challenge because
Yes.
we're normally hands-on, and Hannah has an opportunity to see a scene or two or three and kind of give notes. And,
Yeah.
Or John seeing the show
Same
and
thing.
changing parts
Sure.
of the
yeah,
conducting.
so it's been condensed, but it's been great
Right.
once we've been here. So.
What do you think it would have inspired either of you to go on from here as a result of your learnings through the project?
Wow. What do you think?
It was thrilling to work with an international team. So I would definitely be open to doing that again.
Again, okay.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, just the experiencing a different culture and having the discussions that we wanted to have about writing a show about the world that we dream of, the world that we
Yeah.
want to see, and the peace and diversity and a community that we are endeavoring to
Right.
to create. Yeah. So that was super cool. What else? I don't know. I would
Well,
do another
I think
musical.
that's the best
Yeah.
point that I think, it's a beautiful point that we had to take what we felt the original song from 200 years ago was about, and it speaks of love and peace and goodwill among men and all the other connotations, and we really embraced that. And I think what Hannah did beautifully in the script was we want this to be inclusive. We want it to be for everyone. We really want people of all backgrounds to kind of come and hopefully enjoy a night of music.
So do you see that there's a future beyond Salzburg and Austria for this?
We hope so.
We hope so.
That
Yeah.
there'll be a universal theme that
We
you
hope.
can.
Yeah.
Dublin?
We really hope.
Sure. Do you know
Yeah.
anybody there?
So,
Yeah.
musical?
This is a
No comment.
Oh, wait,
East of the
East,
Love,
that
yeah.
was the East bit.
Were you trying to finish the interview early?
Can I ask you your personal relationship to song? When did you first come across the song?
Oh my God, that's a
Was it
great
childhood
question.
Experience? Was it a childhood favorite?
I was brought up a Catholic boy, and so I think it doesn't even matter what religion. We all know
Yeah.
what faith. We all know this song. And my God, I think just about. We heard some kind of it's everywhere.
It's in
Africa,
218
every
languages,
country around
something
the
like
world.
that.
everybody seems to know the song. I mean, that was the universal appeal of it. And for me, it was the song I grew up listening to as a kid, and we still play every, Christmas together. So.
And Tana?
And Hannah?
My grandmother used to sing in church choirs every Sunday and every Christmas, and so I also grew up with that song. And what was so exciting when we came here and visited all of the many sites of River and Moor is to learn that it was written in German instead of in Latin, which was hugely controversial and really spoke to the idea that this is for the people, not for just the elite, and that he was confirmed by the executioner, which was a big scandal at the time because he was a bastard and not hugely accepted in his time in his community. So we tried to elevate that theme to what's happening now and what type of people are experiencing that same type of discrimination now. But that's not what you asked. You said, when did I hear the song? My grandma sang the song. It was always very close to my heart.
The sense of place and the landscape, is that something that you just discovered? Is that another layer to the song that you discovered when you started researching?
Absolutely,
Oh,
right?
Yeah. No, it was essential that we come here and go to these places and discover who the writers were and the culture. And we really benefited greatly by kind of immersing ourselves in the culture. And one of the things that I came home with was the idea, and I hope I'm successful with it, I hope people like it, I really wanted to musically represent the culture in the best possible way. Meaning, stylistically, there's everything from Grandini's waltzes to swing music to kind of, catchy jazzy music. So I wanted even the score to be a world or a multi-layered experience, and we have rap music. I don't want to spoil it, but we have from contemporary music to very traditional music, and it's all hopefully blending into a beautiful tapestry.
It was a predetermined determination to make it, let's say, appeal to the maximum demographic in terms of music, being let's say a great leveler in all languages. But if you do rap, you might do classical. If you do classical, you might do country.
I think there's some truth to that. I think that and that would be under the heading of Hannah's idea, was just being as inclusive as we can be.
Yeah, inclusive.
And everyone is accepted. And you'll see in the show, there is such a broad range of characters, and they all love each other, And then we came over here and we fell in love with the cast, and hopefully they like us, and and there's this love affair, and that's what we hope everybody walks away with, that they've seen this wonderful little musical. And the other big thing for me was I wanted to write some melodies. I'm a big one of my pet peeves, as we say in the States, is that some musical theater these days aren't as tuneful as they used to be. And so I'm hoping that a couple of these tunes are catchy and that people like them, and maybe they'll hum them when they leave the theater. So that was also a desire on my part to really embrace the fact that melody is a good thing.
Greatest musical ever written in your...
That's exactly the question I was going to ask.
Oh, my mind
What
was...
was your dream of writing?
Yeah.
Oh my God, well, that's a great question. I have no idea. There's so many great ones. I remember when I was a kid, I saw Camelot, I saw My Fair Lady. I hearken back to that era of Learning to Love.
Yeah, Rodgers Hammerstein.
Hammerstein. Those are my favorites. And I love all the contemporary musicals too. I love them. Hamilton, I love it.
More than one song in them, which is very
I try. That's what for good or bad, I tried to write a wide variety of music, and hope it'll appeal to a lot of
same question to Hannah.
I similar answer. I love Rodgers and Hammerstein, and
Have you a favourite musical?
do I have a favorite musical? I love The King and I love Les Mis.
Okay.
I love them.
Yeah.
Me too.
Wow.
Yeah.
I even go back to Man of La Mancha. I love
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just, I kind of picture myself, in that realm of that, because I had no idea what I was doing when I wrote this.
And we talked a lot
And
about
we talked a lot about that because
different
I would text or call Hannah, late at night. I'd go, I have no idea what I'm doing here, and then she'd encourage me. And then there were times when hopefully I encouraged you.
Definitely.
And we got ourselves through it. And
Sounds like the secret to a good marriage.
well, it's a secret. It is. And a great friendship, and a great working relationship. I mean, it's so yeah. I'm kind of like that. I'm that composer tilting at windmills, and I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm hoping that there's something here that people like.
But after this being your first music,
Yeah.
is it something you're going? Was there a sort of an aha moment and go, I could. There's something I can see coming
Good
in the tracks
question.
that this has enabled you to personally be able to sort of go. Actually, I could tackle that.
That's a great
As a
question.
result of this
That's a great
experience.
question. I think the answer is yes, but I have to wait till after opening night. And Hannah and I would joke about it over the last year. We thought either they'd run us out of the town.
Yeah, we're leaving on Sunday morning in
Um,
case, just in case.
Or they hopefully they like it. I hope they like it. That's amazing.
Is it nerve-wracking at this stage, the night before opening night? Is it a bit like
How
that?
do you feel? I don't
past
feel.
that.
I'm past that.
Yeah.
I
Just
literally.
acceptance.
Yeah, we love the cast members. We love, and we want them to succeed now. I
Yeah.
don't think it's anything about
You've
us.
passed it on.
Yeah, it's not really about us.
Yeah, we really turned it over
Yeah.
to this incredible creative team,
Yeah.
and it is such a huge process. I don't think we even anticipated the amount of dancers and children and
Huge amount.
costumes and lights. It's
Cast
really
members and
a-
huge cast.
And-
Did
okay.
you write it for an Austrian audience or for an international audience? Who was in your head when you were actually writing this?
well, we certainly consulted a lot of Austrians because we
Yeah.
want to honor. We don't want to insult Austrians.
Yeah.
They've been our generous hosts and patrons.
That was a big deal for us. We didn't want it to, even though it may seem like it's a bunch of Hollywood people coming over and what do they know about our culture. So we really,
We were
really
sensitive
owned
to that.
And we wanted to make sure at every step that we were honoring the culture and the tradition. And, there's nothing I don't know in the play that would offend, we hope.
We hope not.
We hope not.
And we discussed a lot with our producer,
We did,
with Philip,
yeah.
about what sort of issues are happening.
Yeah.
So for example, at the time that we started talking about this, there was a refugee crisis that
Yeah.
we were
Yeah.
experiencing in the States, and
Yeah.
something similar was happening over here and still is happening. So we wanted it to be specific to what is happening in Salzburg. And so we asked about, what type of people would be in this situation in this city. And there are locations that you'll see in the musical that are very specific to the city, and all that was part of the collaboration. And it was a huge, we talked about this all together, it was a huge act of faith. It was, I wouldn't say religious necessarily, but the idea of having a vision that something could come together that doesn't exist at all in this huge space under these huge auspices, and then just saying, I guess we'll make it happen, this big dream all together. It was really something to see. So.
And the same question to Hannah is, Eamon asked, well, what was the moment, the eureka moment when you said, this is going to work, this is working in my head, this is moving my head?
There's a character in the show named V, and seeing that a young person play that role, embody that role, was really exciting and
It was
inspiring.
exciting.
Because it was sort of a vague notion, and then it was like that person existed, and we didn't even know it, and they appeared before our eyes.
They own it. They live it, and it's just beautiful.
So that was pretty special.
Yeah.
And what did you rewrite? What was the scene that caused you most hassle?
What did I rewrite?
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Many times.
Many times.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a couple great, this is normal. We had 2 or 3 really other good songs that never made it on the show.
Yeah, and I'm sure there will be
There'll be
changes,
more,
many
yeah.
changes again,
Yeah.
and
There'll be more as it develops.
Yeah,
and more.
yeah, sure.
Most fun?
most fun. What?
The
Now.
most fun moments when
Now.
the creation
This
process.
way.
What do you think?
The work's
What do you
done.
think? What's
Yeah, now our families are here now,
Yeah.
so that's so special
Right
to be
now.
able to share
Yeah.
a holiday season with them in Salzburg.
What would be your aspirations? If I asked you this question in 2 years' time, remember the time you were in Salzburg land, and how has it played in the perfect scenario? How would it play?
We just sort of talked about that. You want to take that one for a minute?
Sure. If the show has a broader life, that would be beautiful. And
Yeah.
if we could share it in different mediums, in different theaters, in different languages, those would all be really wonderful goals.
Yeah, I mean, I think our goal is just that. There's sort of a dearth of really rich holiday-themed musical material, or films, or TV shows, and I think if we're lucky, this might filter out there, and maybe it would be a sort of a yearly holiday experience. We hope.
Well, I suppose in the sense that the song itself, started here.
Yeah.
And it
That's
has,
a
as I
big
say,
life.
It's
It
in
has
different
done that,
languages.
yeah.
It's in most cultures in the world.
Mhm.
Do you dare dream?
Are you sure? You got a dream.
You gotta dream. Yeah, that's why we're here. If we didn't dream big, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah, it was a very unlikely.
Yeah.
I mean, even before Philip approached John, it was a very unlikely thing that this would
Yeah.
ever come together.
Yeah.
So it's pretty amazing that it
Pretty
did
amazing.
to the degree that it did.
I think we're just, at this point, we're excited to see the show
Yeah.
all together. I mean, we've seen the show, but I mean,
See the audience reaction.
Yeah.
Mhm. We've never had an audience, right?
no, we've never had an audience.
So tonight will be the first time.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Will you be the first
So
one?
we're your guinea pig. Clap, laugh.
They clap, wow.
Laugh a lot.
Yeah, we will.
Cry.
Oh,
You
cry.
get
Oh,
very
they'll cry.
emotional. You
We
gonna
haven't
cry,
cried.
Lola?
We cried yesterday.
We cried yesterday.
Me too.
We had a surprise yesterday because an amazing classical singer came into the church yesterday and played Silent Night on the copy guitar. And
Wow.
us two, we're tough. And I would.
That sounds beautiful.
We protect our tough
We protect our toughness.
ballsy old ones, yeah. The two of us sitting there in tears, and she said, I'm getting upset at you, and I'm like, yeah. And then Magoo over here is taking video. I'm like,
You?
No.
yeah. I'm like, you didn't get it.
This is back home, or is this?
No, this was yesterday. In her
The
line.
only replica
And
guitar,
it was-
the exact
it was
replica
this
of the
moment,
original
and then-
guitar which was played.
Wow.
And she sang, and she went and learned it and sang
And
it
sang it
in
in
Irish.
Irish.
She sang it in Irish. And at the very end of it,
One of
Eoghan,
them
who's a
right.
lovely singer himself,
And speaks Irish.
and speaks Irish, came in and harmonised with her at the very end of it.
And it was
And it was just, we'll
Wow.
play it for you later after this, but it was just, it just got us. It got us all yesterday.
And in the original key, it was written, not the key it's sung
That's
in.
right.
Oh.
What is it? A much
Good.
lower key?
Much higher.
Yeah, it's
Interesting.
it's a high key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you think
Wow.
about, how many 200 years ago that this was written, and you think about how in those years, and even to this moment, how that song is still creating universal peace and love, and this is
Well,
what
especially
you
with
two
the end
have
of
done.
World War One.
Yes.
There's
Yes.
the 200 years, there's the 100 years.
Yeah.
It's a perfect Thanksgiving for you guys, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a really
Oh,
special
perfect.
Thanksgiving.
That's what I was
Perfect.
just
It
thinking.
is perfect.
Yeah.
The crew that you have, the crew of actors, are they from multiple nationalities or are they all
I believe so.
Austrian?
Yeah.
Where are they
Well,
from?
a lot of them are on the wall right here. So
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
nice.
the Salzburg, the
Yeah.
Landestheater Company. So there are dancers, international dancers,
Okay.
international singers, and also Austrian and German performers.
Yeah.
I think the
ballet dancer from Brazil.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it is sort of a
Yeah,
world
it is.
Yeah, it's a world cast.
Cast, yeah.
I think all the children are from
Yeah.
Yeah.
around here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's all about the children now.
They're very
Really?
sweet.
The way you wrote it, and just the themes underneath those kids, and they're so cute. You guys, are you talking about crying? When those
Well, I was
all
just
those
saying that
kids
when I
come
knew you were
out?
coming out here, I was saying that to Aileen. Anybody who probably has kids or has experienced a nativity play, I don't know if that, I presume that's something you have in the States as well in schools where, you know, the little
Yes.
kids do the reenactment. And Silent Night is usually sung.
Yep.
There's it and there's, what's the other one that I said?
Away in the manger.
Away in the Manger. And both of those, when you hear children's voices singing
That's
it,
it.
because
Yeah.
there's that purity with children's voices, and there's something very pure about Silent Night as
Yes.
a
Oh,
carol
yeah.
as well. It's very simple,
Absolutely.
but it's kind of got a purity to it that's
It does.
it kind of bypasses your brain and goes.
Yeah.
It goes right to
It
the heart.
transcends, and I think
Does.
that's why it's in
Yes.
so many languages and
Yeah.
Yeah.
has traveled so far from such humble beginnings in this
Totally.
one small church
Totally.
in Obendorf.
Yeah.
What was your ambition for the audience as they leave the theatre? What do you want them to be thinking? What do you want them to be feeling as they...
Well, I want them to be humming a tune. You know, that's always the best sign of what I do is if somebody walks out and they're whistling a tune. You know, that was my goal. Dramatically, I leave that to you. I think if they're touched and if they're, you know, feeling good and they have love in their heart after they see this, I don't know, what do you...
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a time for family, and this show is about a non-traditional family
Yeah.
coming together. So those feelings of warmth and belonging, that would be great.
I think we talked
That'd
about
be great.
if they just walked out of the theater hugging their own family.
Yeah,
You know, hugging the people that they're brought there to
Yeah.
Sure.
enjoy, and telling everyone else to go enjoy it too. But just basically having that love within, just because it starts at home. It starts with your family.
yeah.
You know.
Can't wait to see it now.
And are you challenging attitudes, traditions, or...
Are we challenging?
Yeah, are you challenging...
I guess we'll see.
Is that the intention?
No, there's not an aggressive intention at all. I think the intention is just as the original song, we aspire to that intention of inclusiveness and yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well said.
Is there an earworm?
Oh,
Oh,
big
yeah.
time.
Yahoo!
We hope.
We'll all be singing it on the flight back to Dublin now.
You know what's interesting? I've had different people, cast members, tell me in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
They all tend to every night have a different one of the songs in their head, and I like that because
Yeah. There's not just one.
yeah, I really wanted it to be one of those things where one morning you'll be humming one of them, and then the next day you're humming one of the other ones, and because I think those are the greatest musicals have that in common, where you can't really name, you can name a couple of your favorites, but then there's those other ones that I love too. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that, but I'm not going to tell you what my favorite one is, because it changes.
I don't know. I haven't heard
I have
what
two
your favorite
favorites.
is.
Have you got a favourite?
She can't say that now.
What can you dance to?
Oh, well,
What is the one you prefer to dance to?
well, there's a fun country one, but I'm
Yeah.
not a good country dancer.
I'm with you.
It's one of the toughest numbers in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the toughest numbers in the show, you know, is that whenever there's a Western hoedown, or you know, there are a lot of parallels in Irish music.
Yeah.
You know, and it's really rousing and it's difficult, and to dance and sing at the same time is tough. Bum, ba-da-dum, bum, bum, bum. And then, you know, and they're singing and
Yeah.
tons of lyrics, and then they're dancing. So that's one of the harder ones. There's a little Western music in there.
It's a big challenge for Salzburg as well because, you know, this is a city of classical music. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see that transition here.
Yeah.
Because I think it's on the one side it's the good people of Salzburg land, and on the other side it's the people who visit Salzburg.
Yeah.
So I think the transition, and I think this is a really important transition. I'm really looking forward to it for those reasons as well.
Me too.
Yeah, so are we. We don't know what the reaction will be. I know the musicians like the music. That's great.
Yeah.
You know, if they didn't like the music, then I'd be worried. But they tend to come up to me at different times and say, I like that.
I think, Martina, remember you were looking at the poster, earlier, you said this is about a concert for progressive or new music in Salzburg.
Die Dialoge bei der Stiftung.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering, is there any collaboration or is there any connection or is it likely to be with what's been done here and no?
That's the institution from Mozart, and that's separate.
It's an institution for also.
It's the institution from Mozart that dates back to 1842, and they have like the heritage of Mozart, like all the autographs, all the letters, and his widow kind of started it.
So it's not this modern music. You said modern music.
It's a modern approach as an opposition to the classical music, yeah. But it's separate.
Modern interpretation.
From the theater, yeah.
Right, gotcha.
Yeah. There are many, we're finding out there are many different entities in Salzburg that produce different shows. So
Are you anyway nervous about, say, the brand, and not in relation to tonight, but I'm talking about the brand, the Salzburg land brand in relation to Silent Night? They have a very sort of, they're promoting it in a certain way. It's their 200th anniversary. This feeling of needing to do justice to it, or to I suppose pay reverence to it, or irreverence, or.
it's a good question. I think until we perform it for the public, we just don't know. We hope not. We hope that they'll enjoy it as a new piece that goes along with and hopefully honors. You will hear the song in here.
Yes.
And it's featured very prominently. I don't want to spoil it, but it's so we're hoping they have open hearts and open minds, and they go, instead of we want you guys to leave town right now, which I doubt will happen.
But we'll all clap. We guarantee.
We'll,
it.
we doubt that will happen.
Okay, good.
We're kind of loud.
Okay.
Good. Louder the better.